Welcome back to the Pitchsidepodcast. I'm your host, the HOD of the PSP. Like, share, comment on the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, enable notifications to receive all the updates and help us celebrate 100 episodes of this podcast. Quick note, really, without the support, as little as it is, the support is keeping us to continue and produce episodes of this podcast. And producing these sort of passionate, content on the channel and match recaps and all of that. Thanks for everyone who likes, who shares, who subscribes, who follows me on Twitter, who reacts in any way, shape or form to this video, who helps spreading the word in any way. Of course, follow us always on social media, @PSP on Twitter, Pitchsidepod on Instagram, and again, the most important thing, subscribe to the YouTube channel, enable notifications, and help us reach our first K. Thank you for watching and join us for more. Of course, we have to kick off from the Champions League, and we're going to leave Atalanta or Real Madrid versus Atalanta on the back burner for a little bit. Let's just get over the Man City Borussia M'Gladbach game. I think this is a game that we don't need to really talk about it for a lot. The first 18 minutes were pretty much the defining moments of the game. The two goals from Kevin De Bruyne and Ilkay Gundogan. Those were the moments where the game was done and dusted, and if you didn't believe the game was done and dusted even before that, those two goals made the confirmation for you. Borussia Mönchengladbach had some fleeting opportunities in the early goings, really, to try maybe and catch Man City off guard, maybe create some sort of intensity and nervousness in that tie, but definitely it wasn't to be. Man City took control, stomped on the game pretty hard, and in 6 minutes they scored 2 goals. And after that, it seems like they didn't want to score pretty much. Like they were playing, yes, they were creating opportunities and dominating the ball certainly, but his second half wasn't as intense from them as the first half. Certainly, Mönchengladbach would try to just mitigate the damage, trying to stay in the back and defend, and just get out of the competition with the best result possible. And if the best result possible is only losing 2-0 against Man City, again, it's probably for the better for them. And, definitely, Marco Rose is in a pretty hot water at the moment. Certainly the exit to Borussia Dortmund is in the back of his mind, thinking probably about his project there, but definitely still has a couple of matches with Borussia Mönchengladbach to take care of in the league at least, to try and get them to the best finish possible, which doesn't look very likely at the moment considering where Borussia Mönchengladbach are and what they are doing in the Bundesliga, which is, a shame really for a side that was really, really good for the last couple of years. Man City deserving, obviously, of their victory and qualification. There was just a bit of doubt before the draw was made, but that shred of doubt, I think, was just getting, eviscerated and eradicated day per day when you watch Manchester City play in the Premier League. The realistic Guardiola strikes again, taking off their foot off the gas, relaxing themselves really, really well. Taking it easy on themselves, on the team. Even without a striker, they still look very, very dangerous. Their movement from the likes of Gundogan and Foden and Mahrez and De Bruyne is just amazing. And this is going to create a lot of problems for any team that's going to face them in the quarterfinal. Of course, it's going to be the draw on Friday, and definitely the Saturday episode is going to be, instead of being a magazine episode, is going to be a pretty special one to react to that draw from the Champions League, to look at it respectively, and hopefully we'll see some big ties in that one. Man City, of course, as I mentioned, realistic, taking the foot off the gas with the most minimum amount of effort possible. They take off and they just go through to the quarterfinal. Of course, the quarterfinal where the whole Twitter base basically expects them to fail and expects Guardiola to overthink it again. That's definitely on the back of his mind for the last couple of years or so. The failings that they had for the last couple of years in the Champions League, they certainly want to get past that point. I think it's well and truly enough for them, to be eliminated out of the quarterfinal of that competition. So I think it's about time, really, for them to get through to the next round. Congratulations for Man City, and of course the draw. They're going to be one of the teams that people are going to be afraid of in that quarterfinal draw. We'll see who they will be facing in the next stage. And of course, the big game in yesterday, Real Madrid hosting Atalanta, and this was, I think, at least before the game, this was a pretty open one. All the options, all the ideas were there. The suggestions were that Atalanta probably going to be, smashing Real Madrid with some scoreline, with some comfortable scoreline even, for some people, thinking the surprise could have happened, and could have really happened considering everything in the first leg. But I think Zinedine Zidane, credit to him in the first place, he managed the game really well. And I think he realized an important idea in the game, that he needs to control the pace of the game, not the game itself. It wasn't about Real Madrid creating a ton of chances in the first half in particular, because Atalanta started really, really strong in the first 15 minutes, really pressing Real Madrid high, putting them under all sorts of pressure, particularly moving on that left-hand side with Robin Gosens, I think taking advantage maybe of the fact that Lucas Vazquez isn't defensively that good when you compare him to other players who could have played as a wing-back. Atalanta didn't create exactly the greatest of dangerous chances, but still, they were dangerous enough, I think, to cause one problem or two for the Real Madrid defense. However, again, as I mentioned, whenever Real Madrid had the ball, the basic idea was to just control the pace, pass it around, not for the sake of passing it around, but to just make Atalanta exhaust themselves a little bit, consume some energy in running behind the ball, because the running when made off the ball and to press the opponent is very, very different from the runs you make when you have the ball, because when you press the opponent, you really get exhausted, you consume more energy because you're going to be running a little bit quicker and you're going to be making a little bit more effort as well. So that's, I think, the basic idea of Real Madrid in this game, was the fact that they should continue to control the pace of the game. Do not make this about speed and pace, because they know that some of the players, or most of the players, I think aside from only Valverde and Vinicius Junior maybe, and Vazquez, those are the three players that have enough athleticism in them to really counter that press and put Atalanta under all sorts of troubles. And and when you have this sort of plan, you get through the first 15 minutes and 20 minutes without conceding, without Atalanta making any real chances on target, like they only about one shot on target in the first 20 minutes or so. You get the idea that you're really controlling the game. And then, of course, you start having more possession. You started, again, rolling the ball around. Real Madrid themselves didn't get a lot of opportunities to really put Atalanta under danger. But again, who needs opportunities when you have, when you have a goalkeeper that would gift you a goal? That's what Marcos Portiello did in the 34th minute, giving away, like literally giving away a goal for Real Madrid. You cannot give Real Madrid those kind of gifts. A stupid back pass and a ball that should be just hoofed forward. Like, it was a basic goalkeeper mistake, I think. He should have, just hoofed it forward. Instead, gives a lousy pass. Luka Modric intercepts, runs in, and of course, with Atalanta all going high and exposed and stretched, it's going to be a lot of time before any defender could catch up to Modric. Cuts back to Benzema and Karim Benzema in those kind of situations. 9 times out of 10, he wouldn't miss, and he didn't. 1-0 for Real Madrid. A goal that I think, when these goals are scored, and the way they are scored, and the initial action from the goalkeeper making the mistake and all of that, and making the bad pass, it stings. It really hurts the morale of a certain club, because when they see that happen, they get deflated, and probably that's what happened to Atalanta for the rest of the first half. Although they had possession back after the goal, they couldn't do a lot of it. In the second half, they started also good as well, but they couldn't do enough damage with the ball. Most of the second half was under their control, really, but they couldn't create a lot of dangerous opportunities. Real Madrid managed to close down really, really well, sitting deep in the back. I certainly was questioning how wise it is to counter the formation of Atalanta, play almost a 3-5-2, but definitely it paid off, closing down on Atalanta. And I think with the exit of Robin Gosens going down injured in the second half and being taken out for Josip Ilicic, that I think changed a lot of situations there, because you have to move Melee on the left, and pretty much you had no actual wing backs in that side, to make the balance on the two sides. So with Atalanta losing their wings force, the game was pretty much done and dusted. All Real Madrid had to do was just to pick their moments on the counter, and they did. For the second goal, which came off from a penalty, Vinicius Jr., of course, missing a glorious opportunity before that penalty was drawn. But then, of course, on the second occasion, he does the same drill of going quickly behind the lines, dribbling and forcing the mistake out of Jose Luis Palomino. Although there's a bit of debate in me, think that it was outside the box, not inside the box. But definitely the referee knows what to do. I mean, I'm not going to be really discussing that a lot. It's a penalty for Real Madrid. Sergio Ramos comes in, scores the second goal, and that's game, set and match pretty much. And Atalanta afterwards was just scrambling to do anything, although they scored a late goal for Luis Muriel, and there was some sort of, I don't know, weird feeling that maybe Atalanta could score a second goal at least and make this a little bit nervous for Real Madrid towards the end. But Marco Asensio, straight off the bench for Federico Valverde, 2 minutes after that, he scores, he puts his name on the score sheet, again catching Atalanta on the counter. 3-1 for Real Madrid. Congratulations for the 13-time European champions, going to the quarterfinal, pretty deservedly overall. Zidane, over the 2 legs, I think managed the game really, really well. Again, the biggest idea, or the most important idea, was to control the pace of the game, not the game itself. Do not let Atalanta take you to a game of speed and pace with the ball, because Real Madrid are not that athletic enough off the ball to run off it, considering age and everything. So, I mean, had Atalanta controlled the game, had Atalanta took the game to a pace contest, they would definitely outsmarted and outdone Real Madrid. But again, the game management from Zidane was pretty good, and of course on the pitch, the practice, I think the application of those instructions on the pitch was really, really good from the Real Madrid players, and they picked their moments expert really. A mistake from the goalkeeper really helped them open the way, because I think it would have been different really if it was 0-0 at halftime, than 1-0 for Real Madrid, or even 1-0 for Atalanta. So I think it would have been different had it gone 0-0 at halftime, because Atalanta would feel that they're still in the tie pretty much. But with the goal, the way it happened, it deflated Atalanta a lot, and it took off their morale, and they couldn't do anything significant afterwards. Real Madrid are going through. They evade the nightmares of the last couple of seasons where they were exiting from the round of 16. They might be an outsider's pick really to win the Champions League. We could not write Real Madrid out in any competition, definitely not in the Champions League. And certainly this could be the way to go, really. This could be really the way to quote-unquote save the season like they did in 2017-18. No league, pretty much, against with probably Barcelona having more chance to compete for the league than them. Out of the cup, of course, and now they're only left with the Champions League to win. They're putting all the eggs in that basket, and we'll see how Zidane is going to be doing. Is he going to be saving them again? Is he going to win the big one once more? We'll always wait and see. Let's turn the page now and let's go into what's going to happen on Wednesday in the Champions League. Of course, Bayern Munich hosting Lazio, and Chelsea hosting Atletico Madrid. Let's kick off, of course, with the Bayern Munich-Lazio game very quickly, really, because again, one game is interesting and the other is not. So we start with the less interesting one, and unfortunately it's my club that I support. It's Bayern Munich versus Lazio. A game where with the 4-1 result, I don't think there is a lot of chance for Lazio to even make the slightest of comebacks. But again, football is unpredictable and you cannot guarantee it. But over the 2 legs, maybe Lazio are going to be doing something. Maybe they will try and snatch something early on and maybe give a little bit of nerves for Bayern. But if you watch Bayern in the last couple of games they played, and in particular I think against Borussia Dortmund in their Klassiker, you definitely know that Bayern Munich, even when they have a nervy start, and they probably, and most times, 9 times out of 10 they would score, and they would go at you and they would press you until you are destroyed completely. The big idea was in the first game was that Bayern Munich started well, and they started strong in the first 9 to 10 minutes, scoring a goal playing really well, up in the tempo in the first half and controlling the game completely, smothering and pinning Lazio mostly in their defense. Scoring 3 goals in the first half was pretty helping, a pretty comforting idea. The 4th goal was just a formality, I think, whichever way it came, and then the goal conceded maybe was a disappointment, but I don't think that it would give it too much of a window for Lazio. Again, football is unpredictable, is not guaranteed. I'm not going to say that Bayern cannot lose 3, but they cannot lose 3 without scoring. That's the point. Yes, they might concede 3. There's a big possibility that they concede 1 or 2 goals in the game, but definitely never count them out in terms of scoring chances and in terms of creating opportunities to score on the other end, because they would do that. And for Bayern Munich now, if they're going to consider it a deal done, probably there's going to be some turnover, some change in the lineup, some serious, considerations of the lineup in particular, because he played the first teamers against Werder Bremen, pretty much. He played with the first side against Werder Bremen in the league, so definitely the Lazio game with the tie being done and dusted, quote unquote, again. He probably, Hansi Flick, would choose to play the second tier. I don't know what the second tier is going to be consisting of. Maybe Mark Roca. Definitely not Bunassar, because I'm not convinced with that guy. Benjamin Pavard returned to right back, and that creates a situation with him and Sula. And Sula has been really good as a right back. I'm not going to say... he has improved. He had a couple of good games as a right back. He played in the Classica as a right back, and certainly I was afraid of that. And he made some mistakes at the beginning, but then he grew into the game, and he was better. Whatever the options are, this should be a game with the minimum of effort possible, because this is going to be the last Champions League game before the break. You're going to wait for the draw to happen for Bayern Munich. Obviously, the possibilities are there now with the Real Madrid and Manchester City and PSG all going through. This is going to be a big quarterfinal. Definitely, we're going to have a big clash, at least one big clash in that competition between 2 big sides. This quartet, Real Madrid, PSG, Man City, and Bayern Munich, definitely 2 of them are going to go head to head in the quarterfinals, because that is almost impossible not to happen. So Bayern Munich are one of those quartet, and they need to make this game quick and painless for Lazio, I would say, and with the minimum effort possible, although I know Bayern do not like to win by the minimum effort. However, they should be doing that. They should be winning by the minimum effort. They should be trying to conserve the energy for later games and for later opportunities. A game against Stuttgart in the league is really hard, with Leipzig still breathing down their neck. 4 points behind, yes, but it's still a deficit that could be turned around when they meet after the international break, Bayern Munich and Leipzig, So this game should be pretty quick and painless. Bayern Munich should, I think, be comfortable to win. Lazio, this is their swan song. They'll try and play the best game possible, and they'll try at least to go down in a blaze of glory, as they say. Hopefully comfortable win for Bayern, and we'll see what the draw is going to be bringing as well on Friday. And finishing off with the last game of the Champions League between Atletico Madrid and Chelsea in the second leg of that fixture, probably the most open of the ties before the second leg, and the goal from Olivier Giroud in the 69th minute in the first leg, settling the deal between the two sides. And this is a game that could go really either way, considering the form of both sides, the performance from both sides, the results of both sides, the way both sides are playing, and the criticism on both sides, really. Because if you look at Chelsea in the Premier League, and you look at their form, yes, they are winning games, and most importantly, I guess for them, is keeping clean sheets, but definitely not the best of performance, not the most exciting of performance, definitely not the most attacking, thrilling-wise, attacking-wise, not the most thrilling performances. The last draw against Leeds United probably put a lot of questions over how Thomas Tuchel is approaching the game, because when you draw against a side in Leeds United that basically love to open themselves and explode themselves in the back, try to play suicidal football almost, as far as attacking is concerned, they will try and attack it or try to create opportunities. Why Chelsea didn't score against Leeds United is a question, and definitely the fact that Thomas Tuchel doesn't have a proper a proper front three, not a back three because he has those, but a proper front three to play with, rotating between, Werner, Mount and Havertz, Werner, Mount and Ziyech, Mount and Havertz, and all of that. Pulisic sometimes gets in, and he was only starting against Leeds after the criticism also growing towards him and why he was not using Pulisic in that lineup. Definitely Thomas Tuchel was adamant in more than one press conference, in more than one interview, that he wants to rotate, that he wants to give game time to everyone, and I can understand this idea, but that idea, I think, stands right in the way of, you having a stable shape, having a stable lineup, a proper momentum going on in some competitions, and certainly you need that in the Champions League, because as much as I would say Chelsea have a big chance of going through this round and then going through Atletico Madrid, I don't think they have the chance of winning the Champions League pretty much. I mean, they're, one of the outsiders, I would say, and definitely it will take a lot of work from them against the Atletico Madrid side, who would enter this game definitely would want to play some classic Simeone football, I would say. In that is, they will try and close down, they will try and, absorb the pressure from Chelsea, like they did in the first leg, but definitely, on one moment of lapse of concentration for Atletico, they were caught and they conceded their goal, they lost the game, they definitely were the second best in that game. They didn't create a lot in that game, and Thomas Tuchel, I think, managed the game really well. Though in the second leg, things are going to be really, really different. Again, with no proper front three, are you going to be relying on Giroud once again after not using him in the league pretty much since that victory against Atletico Madrid? Werner has been starting, Ziyech has been starting as playing as a striker. The games that they played, yes, they kept 5 clean sheets in a row, which is, a good thing, but definitely not the most exciting football. Only 3 goals conceded in the 4 games after the first leg against Atletico Madrid. And definitely the priority for Thomas Tuchel is to strengthening the defense, but I think it came at the expense of strengthening the attack and having a proper shape up front, because while he has his defenders, sorted out in Zuma, Christensen and Azpilicueta, I don't think he has his attackers sorted out, and you definitely need to have your attackers sorted out if you want to have a proper shape and momentum about you and about the club that you're playing, because it really makes a big, big difference when you have a proper shape in attack and you have players you can rely upon, to deliver, to create opportunities and to make the movements themselves. I mean, the setup he plays with is pretty smart in theory and in execution as well, but definitely the finishing touch, the identifiable goal scorer lacks in Chelsea. And I mean, they don't lack support, they don't lack the skill, they don't lack the technique for those players, but certainly the sort of a final drill, the final push in front of the goal to score is still pretty much lacking in that Chelsea. For Atletico Madrid, I think with the way they will play, and they'll definitely try to make it a classic, knock him down, drag him out, really, almost fight with the Chelsea. They'll try and exhaust the Chelsea players, push them into that kind of physical game they don't like, and try to pounce on the moments where they get caught. I mean, who knows what is going to be happening in this game? Who knows what Simeone is going to be approaching the game? I mean, as far as the shape is concerned, definitely it'll be the 4-4-2 into the 5-3-2, the 3-5-2, whatever it is. That sort of hybrid back 3 to back 4 to back 5. They will try and close down, tighten the spaces around the middle. Do not let Chelsea get through, and just let them possess the ball without having any danger. And eventually they will give away the ball either by pressing or by basically squandering their opportunities of making the wrong decision, and they will try to just bounce on them and be quick in transition using the players that they have, the likes of Trippier, Llorente, Carrasco, Thomas Lemar, those kinds of players that are really, really quick on transition in this formation and could be really useful to find spaces behind the midfield line and behind the back line for Chelsea. As far as predictions are concerned for this game, I don't I cannot predict it. I can see Chelsea going through, but I think it's going to be with a draw, and at the mostly it's going to be a really boring kind of 0-0 in that regard. That's it for me for this episode, the 100th episode again. Thank you for the support, thank you for watching. I was your boy, the HOD of the PSP. Follow us on social media. I'm at PSP on Twitter, Pitchsidepod on Instagram, and most importantly, like, share, comment on the YouTube version of this, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Enable notifications always to receive the updates from these episodes of the podcast, which you can listen to on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any other platform. And until the next time, I'll see you soon. Goodbye.